is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hey, it's me, the Celebrity Medium. I'm apologizing for my raspy voice. You can probably hear that. I've got a cold. I'm back with another edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, the only show anywhere that gives you the up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebrities. Got good stuff for you this week. And I'm about to lay it on you because that is what I do every week. All right, Fred Trump, father of President Donald Trump. He's continuing his campaign to support his son. If you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you know that Fred has been maniacal in his attempt to vindicate his son of any accusations about basically anything. It's been going on for months and months now. Well, he was quiet for a while, and I, for one, was kind of hoping that he was going to stay that way because he went off on me at one point. He's aware of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, kind of attacked me publicly, which is really strange because, of course, I have no way to retaliate about that. Well, he's not quiet anymore. He has announced he's assembling what he calls a People's Tribunal to determine if his son is guilty of colluding with the Russians to fix the 2016 American election. Now, we don't know everything about this or exactly what he's planning on doing, but he's going to assemble, or so he says, a panel of next world citizens to voice their opinion. They're going to be like a grand jury, in other words. They're going to determine whether or not Donald is guilty of trying to fix the election. I'm going to guess miraculously it turns out that this tribunal decides that Donald was in fact not guilty of trying to fix the election. But we don't know that just yet. All right, we don't know who's going to be on this panel, except for a couple of exceptions. We do know that he plans to have former Soviet premiers Nikita Khrushchev and Brezhnev on the panel. Why? Who knows? Is it nuts? Yes. Speaking of people who have resurfaced after a long time out of the public spotlight in the afterlife, artist Jackson Pollock is back on the scene once more. This is a long, convoluted story. I don't really have time to summarize it all for you. What you need to do is go into the archives of this show and find it. It's stretched out over a period of several months, actually. But as a result of what went on, Pollock has been hiding from the public for some time now. He is back. He says he's working on a new series of paintings. The series is going to be called The Accused, to honor people who are falsely accused of heinous acts, as he says he was. The specific heinous act, sorry again for the voice, the specific heinous act he says he was not guilty of was basically electrocuting Prince on stage. David Bowie. David Bowie on stage at a big show inside iVironment, which is a blimp-sized hangar that was an indoor water attraction, and it's a whole mess. But it was really very much believed that he was behind the electrocution. Now, you can't die, of course, in the afterlife, but you can be injured, not super seriously, but, bad enough. And ever since that incident, he has been missing in action. Nobody knew where he was. He's never spoken out on it. And he's not even really speaking out about it now. He's just saying that he's got this new series of paintings called The Accused to honor people who are falsely accused of doing something terrible. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Comedian Ralphie May, he transitioned to the next world a few months back, late 2017. And since he arrived there, he signed up to star in a sitcom called What's the Problem with Ralphie? Well, as I've been chronicling over the past several weeks, he had a little falling out with the producers. In fact, he stopped the show right in the middle of a taping and looked at the audience, just completely broke character, broke the fourth wall, looked at the audience and said, "What's the problem with Ralphie? This show is the problem with Ralphie." And then he kind of went on strike. He refused to do any more shows. And what we found out was that he was not happy with the direction of the show. He didn't think the writing was very good. He didn't think that the way they were taking the show suited him well. And, of course, that was a whole to-do between he and the producers. As a result, a couple of producers were fired, and he is now back making new episodes, and the first of the new episodes is about to air. According to my Afterlife sources, the show is much more realistic than it was in its original version. Now you have plots involving Ralphie writing as himself. He's just a fictionalized version of himself on this show. And in the new episodes, he's writing jokes based on his home life and family. And then the show, the sitcom, shows him performing them in front of a real live audience, which I think is kind of clever. So what he's doing is he's writing material for his sitcom, and then he's actually going on stage in front of a real audience, like a comedy concert, and performing it. So the material gets kind of used twice, which is kind of brilliant in a way. By the way, Ralphie May has 2 kids. His daughter is named April June May, and his son is named August James May. So that's a little odd. But even better than that, his wife is a comedian on the earthly plane, and her name is Lana Turner, but she spells it L-A-H-N-A. So it sounds to me like his earthly plane life was kind of interesting, and my understanding is that his wife and kids on the show are going to use those same names. They'll be played by actors, of course, but they'll be using the same names. I wish I could see this show. It sounds kind of nifty, actually. I'd sort of like to see what he's going to do with the revived version of it. Lastly, the Manson Family reunion tour is apparently really going to happen. When David Cassidy transitioned to the next world, Charles Manson wanted to perform on stage with him. Well, first off, David Cassidy hadn't announced he was going to go back to performing yet. And second, why would anybody in their right mind want to work with Charles Manson? So he politely blew Manson off, just said, "I don't know if I'm going to be performing, blah, blah, blah." And then, then he said in an interview, like, "I don't want any part of that guy." So Manson said he was going to set up his own tour. Everybody went, "Yeah, whatever." Well, apparently he's going through with it. Currently, he's trying to get in contact with the members of the Manson family who are in the afterlife at the moment. And amazingly, there are actually a few venues, like nightclubs and places like that, that say they are interested in booking the tour once Charlie has the details worked out. Now, I did a quick little Wikipedia study on this, and according to Wikipedia, Susan Denise Atkins, nicknamed Sadie, is the only Manson family member who is currently in the next world. Now, so does Manson know that, or does he think that there are other Manson family members there? Because it isn't going to be much of a show with just him and Susan Atkins, assuming she even agrees to work with him. We don't know. The details are still up in the air. I will give them to you as I find out. So there will be more about this story to come. Okay, that's it for me. I'm done here. I'm going to lock up the studio. I'm going to go hide in a hollow log for a week. And then I'll be back with more up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebrities. Between now and then, do be a solid. And tell people that the report can be found on iTunes. It can be found on the Google Play Store. It can be found on YouTube. And if you happen to be awake on a Monday around lunchtime and you live in the Los Angeles area, you can listen to the report on K-Chung Radio AM 1630 on a show called Inspirato Projecto Radio. And I'm so appreciative of them for airing it. They are the only radio station with the guts to tell the truth about what's going on in the afterlife. I'm sorry I turned into Alex Jones there for a second. All right. I'm the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.